Welcome everybody to the BNN podcast with your host DJ BJ and the Anime Prophet. Today we've got a special guest, Sega.
I told you to now call me DJ BJ, but you still did it. Well, so So what do I do? Do I mix blowjobs? It's like people, like in the club, and they're going down. I'm like, hey, go down, DJ BJ, go down, and they're literally going down on each other. And it's like, what? So like, what's going on here? Like, and what did I sign up for? You see everyone's taking off their pants.
I'm wondering.
So wait, you also is DJ BJ for a reason. Alright, cool. So yeah. Alright, so hello everybody. The anime prophet Elisha seems to want to call me DJ BJ. That is not my title. Hopefully it will not catch on, as I do not want to be associated with musical blowjobs, if that's a thing. Anyways, so we have our guest here tonight. Tavonga Shumbanhete. He's a guy I went to, same high school. He's an animator. Well, pretty much he does, let me not try to explain what he does. I'll just leave it up to him. So yeah, Tavonga, what do you do?
I am a visual storyteller.
Okay.
You can call it an animator. I think animator is the proper term, but I like to think of myself as a visual storyteller.
Okay.
Because it's a wider term.
All right.
It encompasses a lot. I use the title that's longer so that people can listen for a long time.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm an animator.
Alright, cool.
QD.
Alright, that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Did you go for that specific title so that... Because I know, like, especially in our country, we like titles. We call people who don't have a medical degree a doctor, and, you know, we make them the Minister of Health and Childcare. This is where it comes from. Yeah.
Not really.
Not really.
It's just because, I wanted to be something different from what everyone else entails, and also because I think it speaks more to like people if you tell them I'm a visual storyteller. They get to ask you like, oh, what do you animators in sim? So when you tell them you're an animator, it's an interesting job, but then people don't know what do you do when you say that. They just go, oh, my cartoon.
Oh yeah.
And then you're done. Like you're so when you tell them visual storyteller, they will ask you like what exactly like do you do? How do you tell the stories? Because it's more cryptical, it's more mystical,
Yeah. And also it kind of encompasses that you do more than just move things. Because like if you're an animator, you like imagine like probably if you're like working on a big movie, you could have been the guy who was just animating Spider-Man's eyes, and it's still animation, right? Like
or the guy who just animated his fingers.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, it's important. If it's wonky, people will notice in the cinema. It's like, those visual effects, they look fake.
That's the funny part, isn't it? It's just like the things that people don't think matter when they are not proper. You can tell this is not proper when it's not proper. But when it's proper, no one even gives a damn.
Yeah, it's like you only notice it when it's not there. You still there, my buddy? Alright, cool.
Learn.
Yeah. You're breaking up a bit.
Oh no, I'm quiet now. I'm silent.
Oh, okay, cool, yeah. I'm just thinking that's gonna be a mission to edit out all the blips, cause. Alright, cool. So anyway, so what I wanted to ask, cause like since I know you personally and we went to the same high school, cause like okay, I know what happened. I don't know if you want to talk about this, but all I know is that like A levels, right? When the results came back, I believe the results
Mm-hmm.
were not the kind of results you wanted to get, right? Like for most of the guys were like doing A-level art.
Yeah, I think it's plain to say. I think I can say this. Like, I got an E, like A-level art.
Yeah.
I was not expecting it. 'Cause
Yeah.
I thought, because it's art, we're gonna do this.
Yeah,
man.
you're gonna kill
it's
it.
art because everyone else in high school, yeah, and everyone else, you won't believe in yourself. Because society is trying to not believe in it. So then you're like, in your mind, you're like, so it's gonna be simple. But believe me, art is not a joke. Like taking an art exam.
Yeah.
Is not a joke. It is not a joke. People might think it's a joke, but it is not a joke. I failed, and I was confident I was gonna get it. I failed.
Yeah.
I failed.
So which then?
But
Yeah.
it was an experience.
Yeah. So which makes me now wonder, because like when I
Yep.
found out that you're now doing like animation, especially like a bit of motion graphics, and you animating like your cartoons and like some projects that you've done that I checked on Instagram. I was like curious, like, whoa, so how did you then end up doing this? Because like I know that with most of us, as soon as we left high school, we either took a gap year or we ended up doing our own thing. Others started like people went their different paths, like they started doing their own thing. So when I found out that you're now doing like animation, I was like, this is interesting. So how did you go from that sad news of getting an E to now doing motion graphics and being a visual storyteller? Like, just tell me how you ended up there.
Well, my parents are like the tradition. They're forward with education. They aren't in the traditions, like they're like education first. Like things they believe in education, that it will get you everything. Well, these days it's now more evolved to being just education. Education might be there, but you can do education above a lot of with that education. Academics per se.
Yeah.
But they sent me to college straight after high school. I didn't take a gap year.
Okay.
To be honest, I did not choose. I had not chosen the program because I was closed. I didn't even know a thing about universities. I only know about MSU. That's the only university I knew of because of the promiscuous things that happen.
Yeah, the fact that people smash a lot, of which I've heard it's true. Like people literally destroy each other's genitals. It's like you're playing Mortal Kombat, of which is the survival of the genitals.
So it's the only university I knew of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah. Okay.
So it was use it and MSU. But then there was an ad advertising degrees in Chinoi. So art was there apparently. And so an E at A level qualifies as a pass, but it's like low points. It's like very low points, but then it's sort of a pass.
Okay.
So then it was enough to get me to do that creative art and design degree in Chinoi.
Okay.
So I did that, but then I was still lost. I didn't really want to do, because at first I wanted to be a graphic designer, because graphic design was sort of I think almost like every creative would then brought intro into the industry of creativity.
Yeah, pretty much, because like
I think
because
so.
like yeah. You can go on.
I did graphic design for a bit.
Yeah.
So I did some some logos, some posters, some advertising stuff, because we had all these courses in the degree that like we touch on everything: photography, film.
Yeah.
We didn't go deep into it, but we were introduced to it.
Okay.
So in 2016, I think I decided, something in me just decided I want to make cartoons. I want to tell stories. So the ideas I had in my head using like animation, because it's such a fluid medium. You can do anything. Things that a very high budget or like software that does things for you like that. So I wanted to tell my African story. I got into it because of African Zimbabwean stories. So in 2016, I bought my tablet. That was the first thing to do with animation that I bought. I bought my first tablet. I saved up my money in college, and then I bought my first tablet. which up to this day I'm not using quite as often as I should be.
Okay.
But in 2016 I bought my tablet, and then in 2017, that was during my attachment, is when I really started experiment this seminar that Nafuna hosted came with. So I saw the software called Moho, because I couldn't like constantly draw, because for me, I am not as patient with drawing frame by frame as most people do, most artists do.
Okay.
So seeing that
the
was
software was Moho, right?
Yes, it was Moho. Back then it was still Anime Studio.
Okay.
It was Anime. So I saw, I think it was Tafadzwa Tarumba. He was using Moho, and he said he actually bought the software. So kudos to him. I think he's the only dude in Zimbabwe who has bought that Moho software. He actually bought it.
Okay.
So I was inspired because I saw he could rig character and he could make them move without drawing them over and over.
Okay.
So that fascinated. And then I got I will eventually buy it one day, obviously, you know.
Yeah, like once you start making money and you're no longer living like a student, yeah.
That made you. So I asked my brother to download Moho for me. And then he downloaded it. And then I started, you have to give back to the software team. But it was very stressing. It was so stressing. There's a point I quit. I think I quit for 3 months. I stopped because there was no one to help me. I didn't know how to do certain things. And then, you know, when the software got glitches and there's no support for that certain software in the market, you sort of get stuck.
Yeah, so there were no tutorials.
I was just devastated.
Oh, like, didn't you have, like, did you try?
There were tutorials. They were there, but then there were no specific tutorials to tell you if you're I'm pretty sure you know, like when you're creating these characters, the things called bones.
Yeah.
And then
like rigging and stuff.
And then you've got like the physics, the bone physics, whatnot.
Yeah.
So when those things did happen, like glitches in the rigging, there were no specific tutorials. I mean, I'm a guy who, if I want to search for something, I could type that in YouTube, but then it didn't show those things. So then I got really frustrated, and then I quit. Like, that was 26 a bone. If it turns red, and then I can turn, and then you just need to go back. And then I went back, and then I had a little good run. Now I was doing things, and
You still there?
I did on some I was working on some rigs, but you know, as I was growing, I'm still growing, but then back then as I was growing, there were things I avoided. I avoided creating Victor characters because they had like things called points, like, you know, the Victor points. Right? You have to animate like those specific things. And I didn't know how to create those, so I would use images. Like, I would draw the character in Photoshop and use those images to animate them. So my characters weren't that fluid back then. I'm sure if you check on my page, there's one character called Mukoma. I forgot his name, but he's in the gym. Like, it's one of my early animations. He's in the gym working out. He doesn't flex a lot because he's just like pictures that are moving. Like, they just got drawings. So that's what I could do. And then there's just a point where I decided, into animation. So I started on point animation. And then it built up. I'm looking at developing my animation skills because I'm developing and built up one skill and say, oh, this is my skill, because it's gonna change at some point in time. I'm thinking of diversifying. Diversifying I think will really help me. But as for where my heart really is, I love 2D animation. It's just got it. I think it's because it's the way I used to watch cartoons as a kid. And then we didn't have 3D cartoons. You know, we didn't have 3D cartoons back then. So like most of our cartoons were 2D. So like that just like stuck in my head. And I was like 2D all the way. 2D. If I had it my way, I would do traditional animation, like hand-drawn animation. But then,
it's
the work that goes into that. So I'd rather stick to rigging characters.
Alright, cool. That sounds interesting. So, sorry. So basically, you got into Moho after like you went through the Nafuna workshop, right? Like that's when you were doing attachment.
Yeah.
Okay. So would you say those guys had like a huge influence in like determining like your direction in terms of like your career, or what you're focusing on right now?
Now that I think of it, I would say they are, because that's like how I got into using the software I'm using today. That I'd never really actually thought of it like that. I should thank like Nafuna for that. They got me, like they didn't know, but then that seminar motivated this little eager blank young man to actually look into it. So,
that's cool.
So
I'm pretty
I'll be sure to put that.
Yeah, you should. I think maybe you should send him the snippet of the interview to the guy, and he'll be like, oh my god, I actually had an impact on someone's life. I'm pretty sure he does have an impact on people's lives, because he has like that popular. What's that popular?
Yeah, they did like
cartoon from Nafuna. This is angry baby. Angry baby. What's it called?
Angry Mwana.
Yeah. I know that it clocks a lot of views. Yeah. Anyway, so moving on. So let's move on. Okay, so you go from quitting, then you get back to learning more. Then what happens next? Now you're using more. Like. Are you still in attachment, or are you about to finish?
I finished school. I finished last year, but 2018. Okay. That's when I finished.
Okay. No, I mean, no, it's like in the timeline. I'm pretty sure you did finish. Okay, so you finished 2018.
So now I'm in the world.
Okay.
You're talking about, okay. Just like you just warned me, like we are speaking time zones.
Oh yeah, time zone. Yeah.
So I'm now using school. This is like and then I think for that period of time I focused on motion graphics.
Okay.
That's when I really started focusing on motion, because for some reason I just started doing. I think I started on attachment. It just developed. It was a personal thing. I never did as. I have no idea how I started motion graphics, but then I was doing like little jobs for people, some of my relatives and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then I got introduced, I think, to Behance.
The website. Okay.
Yeah.
And then you got to see like.
And it had some really interesting things.
Okay.
Like it had some really interesting things. And then that's where I sort of started looking at stuff. I haven't really found my style yet. Like a lot of, but then I wanted to find like a way of doing things that stuff in Zimbabwe, like the motion graphics, the C2 animation. There's this Zimbabwean feel about it, and I wanted to get away from that. So then, Behance was like really. It really like got some ideas in my head, like of how to think different, how to look at things. And there's a lot of people who like I have to thank for that. That was Brian Medina and Phineas Machila. Yeah. These are graphic designers. They're in the advertising industry. Yeah, these guys really helped me like to see things like that, and also like. And Pius and like he opened my eyes to things, because during attachment where I was working, he would come to and they would have these discussions, and I would be part of those discussions, and then I would hear what they would be saying about these things, and then they look at things. So I sort of like I took notes, like I was just taking notes on what they were saying, and it taught me a lot of things, like during a time on like quality of products and how to just sell things differently to how Zimbabwe usually does things. So they like made me step out of my mind.
Oh yeah. Because I know Pius always says that a lot of the local stuff isn't good. Because of course, like once you go through Behance, because I know that most local will use motion graphics, like the stuff that's not proper. Like they just take like some template, and you have like some, maybe like it's supposed to be like some pastor's thing, like some the whole like the pastor's gonna do like some revival, and then you get like some funny steel chrome. Yeah, you get some steel chrome text popping up. It's not like during the colors that I use are not meshing well. It's not really well designed. Like even if it's a template,
Or some golden text.
yeah, then you got that weird anime.
They still find a way to mess the template up.
Yeah, they do. Because like generally, if you don't understand design,
they still find a way to mess it up.
Because like if you don't understand design, even if you have a template, like you create madness, like literally. But yeah, I guess it's good you got exposed to BMs, because like I feel like when you get exposed to what's out there, like you realize that you're just I mean, of course you should derive, like I guess if you're trying to be creative, you should take, I guess, references or influence from your own culture. But if you want to get good in terms of craftsmanship, there are other people out there who have been like setting the bar high. So I think it would be better to just reference them instead of people here who are playing games. Because yeah, if you check out like I guess motionographer, I'm pretty sure you check out motionographer, right? Like
I haven't yet.
Oh, you should, man. I mean, like since you do a bit of MoGraph, like the stuff you get to see there, you'd be amazed. You're like, like that's when if you're now going down the rabbit hole of motion graphics, because like I'm pretty sure there are a lot of sites. You got that motion design school. You got there's that Ben Marriott guy.
Motion Array.
Yeah, Motion Array.
Yes, Ben Marriott.
Yeah, there's that other dude called E.C. Abrams. Like he's pretty cool. And then of course there's my personal favorite. Dude called Ash Thorpe. The guy was worked like on a lot of big movies. He worked on Prometheus. He did the title sequence for X-Men. I think First Class, the ending title sequence. He also worked on Ender's Game. Like, that dude is just a monster.
Oh.
Yeah, like you should check him out. Like, that dude destroys. Like, in terms of MoGraph, he's in a tier of his own. Like, he's a monster. But anyways, so yeah, I guess it's
his own universe.
Huh?
Yeah, I said his own universe. He's in his own universe.
Yeah, like he's in pretty much. Alright, so you went through Behance, and then what else ended up happening? Like did it affect you, or like did you learn any new techniques?
Yeah, I learned like also like during that time I learned like there's nothing new under the sun. So that's when I learned how to we call it they call it copying or stealing, but it's creative borrowing. I just think because everything has already been
done.
Own style. You can add your own style to it.
Yeah.
Then you add your own style to it, but then you can create your own, but you can tell it your way.
Yeah.
So I started using because I couldn't draw that good. I used trace around the template and then just I'll change like the facials. Used like body templates for characters. Like outlines of the character to make it mine.
Okay.
And that I learned that's the clone. And it's okay to copy, but then don't copy everything as it is. You just copy some of the things that you want, and then you change it into your own. If at the end of the day people can't tell that this thing was copied from blah blah blah, then you did not copy. You just borrowed an idea because everything is there already. You're not trying to invent the wheel all over again. Not saying that you shouldn't try to, but then that's just how it is.
Alright, that's cool. So okay, we touched on like your progression from dealing with the bad news of getting an E to going to Chinoi, right? That's where you went, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Then going to Chinoi University of Technology. You were studying visual. What was the degree name?
It was creative art and design.
Creative art and design. Okay, so you went through creative art and design. Then you go through your attachment, and you go through the Nafuna workshop. You get introduced to Moho. You go bonkers in cartoons. You try learning Moho. Then you give up for like 3 months, and you come back. Then after that, you graduate, then you start focusing on motion graphics, and you went on Behance. You got ideas to make something that's a bit more international and professional as compared to what most people in Zim do. Like when they just take a template and fuck the shit out of it.
Yeah, like using templates and then starting to call it our own, or like putting half-done work out. Of course, it's not good to be a perfectionist. But then at the same time, I learned that you have to put your best foot forward and not be a perfectionist at the same time. because I struggled with that. I wouldn't post a piece of work unless I was like 100% certain like there is nothing wrong with it. And this was like during the time I was developing. So I then learned that it's okay sometimes to have some things not there.
Alright, cool.
And during the time, I actually had forgotten to mention like one of the most influential people in my career was Chino Makoni. Chino Diwa Makoni.
Oh, okay. That's cool. How so?
Yes. He is my mentor.
Oh, he is.
I asked him to be my mentor, you know.
Okay, that's interesting. I didn't know that he was taking students.
Oh no, it's not like he's taking students like that. But you know, he really gave life to like my animation career. Like if we're talking about someone who gave life to it, it's probably him. He gave life to it. He saw like that I could develop and that I could, you know, do things. He believed in me, and like that built me. I don't even know how this had slipped my mind, man. I don't even know how it slipped my mind, but yes.
Okay,
like
so do you want to go delve deeper into how he like mentored you, or is it like is it like top secret?
Oh no, it's not top secret. No. I prefer to have life with less secrets. It becomes less complicated that way.
Yeah, okay.
Eugene Mapondera, Comics Exposed, played a very big part in my animation career. Oh my gosh, this stuff is just like, it's like if you've never been asked before. This stuff is hidden away in little chests in your mind. So now it's just opening up. Yes, I then remembered Eugene Ramirez Mapondera. These are the Comics Exposed guys.
Yeah.
So I would say like Comics Exposed really opened up my animation career. There was this. It's a workshop, I think, that Eugene invited me to. My brother knew someone who knew Eugene. So then he was supposed to go, but then he didn't want to go because it was an animation thing, and he didn't do animation. So I luckily got that spot and went for that Comics Exposed workshop, where we met up with this guy. I think it was 2017, early 2017, it was 2016, November of 2016.
Okay.
So we go to this workshop, and then there's this guy
Which guy?
So Olaf he's a cartoonist.
Okay.
He makes little short comic strips. And then there was this guy who was a 3D animator from France. His name was Pierre. It should be Pierre Rosetto, yes. And so the course was like a 2-week thing, where we would do the first I met up with week, and then that's where a lot of people. I met up with Kudzi, with Rock, Afro Tokyo, and who else was there? There was Claire. Claire was there. I'm sure you know Claire. She does 3D animation as well.
I actually don't know her.
She's okay. I'll show you her. I'll show you her. All right.
You mean her?
And also I met Claire. Claire.
I mean, I don't want to get the audience confused. You never know.
No, man. No.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
That's where I met Pius as well, and was a 3D animator as well, like one of the veterans of like the 3D industry in Zim.
Yeah, he went to Ziwa.
So
yeah.
Oh, serious? Oh, yeah. All those guys, like, they were there, and I was just this young dude who was very blank, but inside was very honored to be amongst these, these well-known shocked at just what I was seeing, like the stuff people did. I was really like motivated me as well, because if you're like placed in a quality stuff, like people already like play sport quality. In your mind, in the back of your mind, you're already like, oh my gosh, so this is where I have to go. This is the direction I have to go. I can't do anything less than this.
Yeah.
And so yeah, we had that workshop like the first week. The first week was the cartoon panels thing with Olaf, and then it was done, and then he went, and then the next one we had Pierre, the 3D animator from France. So we actually like learnt Maya there. Was it Maya or 3ds Max? I think it was 3ds Max. We learnt a bit in that week. We were supposed to create a little short animation from what we had learnt.
From 2 weeks.
So, you know, there were the people who could do 3D already, they knew stuff. And we were just like, oh my gosh, this is interesting. Oh yeah. And I think I was with Arthur Ninio.
Yeah. Hey, Arthur is in the US, right?
Arthur.
If I'm not mistaken.
He's in the US.
No, like he has an American number.
Canada. I think it's Canada.
He's always in Canada. Also, is that where he is now working?
He's in Canada.
So he's
I think I'm not so sure if he's working there, but yeah.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, Arthur was there as well. These things are just not coming back into my mind. But yeah, and he was showing some of his works, and also Felix. Felix was there. Felix, the designer. Oh my gosh, there was a lot of people there, and so. We learned how to do some 3D with 3ds Max, and we had to create characters. So the group I was in, we were divided into groups, and then the group I was in was supposed to we created this concept for a little robot called Execute, who was supposed to, I forgot the script, but it was supposed to be something really cute for the baby and this robot. I'm not so sure if I'm supposed to be disclosing this information, but I mean, we came up with the script, so
yeah.
And so whilst we were rigging and creating, he was already like in the industry then, like, so he knew how to like create characters and whatnot. So he had already like created a character rendered whilst we were still trying to learn how to even pull some polygons here and there.
Yeah.
But yeah, he made like a super sweet robot character. But then the thing is, people thought we could do it in that space of time. But then, 3D takes a long time.
Yeah.
It takes a long time to do. So we ended up just modeling some characters, and we never really got to use them like that. I don't know if the guys that were there ended up, expanding on that. But I think some did. But that workshop motivated me as well. I had no idea the stuff was in my head. Oh wow. Yeah, and then fast forward to 2018. I did some. That was when I was now developing. I was now developing my 2D animation. I was developing my 2D animation, my rigs. Just because now I had, for now, in comparison to I'm very comfortable with more. Like I'm very, very comfortable with it now, because when you're starting out, it is really stressful. But when you just like get some basic things done, and you know what happens, if you know that this glitch happens because you did this, you are good. You are good to go. So 2018 motion graphics. I was working on motion graphics as well. I was when we were a friend of mine from school introduced us to a dude named Quentin. Quentin was working for ZTN. I was still in school back then, and we were supposed to do some during the elections. During the elections in 2018, right? Yeah. So they were supposed to do coverage for the elections. The ZTN crew. We didn't even know ZTN existed at that point, because it was now blooming out, because they had started, I think, like 3 years earlier. Now it was blooming out. So he got. He's currently working at ZTN right now, and we were still like at our friend Tafazo Makichi to do the graphics for the elections for that broadcast passed. So we were together with Simdoc. Simdoc was there as well. You know Simdoc, the director, the video director. He directs, yeah. So he was there as well. So they liked it. They really did it, and we just went to school. Like the money did for the. We went to school. We went back to school, and they liked what we had done. So after school, at the end of 2018, I got a call from Clinton, that Clinton guy.
Yeah.
He was the post-production director at ZTN at that time. So he called me up and he called Tafadzo up and he said, you guys, what are you guys doing after school, after you're done? And we said, we don't know yet. We have no idea. We were a bit skeptical about joining the team back then. So we just kept on postponing because we were skeptical. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then, right after, he just said, come through. Right after college, this was like a blessing in disguise. Right after college, I think 4 January of 2019, we went and we started working at CPN. On probation. So we never had a break in between. Yeah, we have a break to so now where do I want to go work?
Okay, so you didn't go through unemployment.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And thank God for that. Apparently that I didn't go through that phase. So straight after that we went to and we started working for ZTN. We worked. It was fun working with Quinton and working with the team. We did some things. We went on some crazy adventures. We went on some road trips, stuff like that. This was all in 2019. And meanwhile, this time I was developing my motion graphic skills. This is where I developed most of my motion graphic skills because Quinton was in 3D as well. So, because he did most of the branding for ZTN. So he's the one who pushed me. He was an all-rounder, but he was good at motion graphics. He introduced me to Behance and to more sources of inspiration on how to use the information you see on those sites into your own work. So that became really experimental with a lot of concepts and stuff like that, and that's how my motion graphics side developed. And then meanwhile in the background, that's when I got to doing some music videos for some artists. There have been some who've been shady, I won't lie, because not everyone is an angel, not everyone is a saint.
They make you work for free and don't pay you.
People. Yes.
Okay.
Some have closed me, some ran away with my money, but at the end of the day, I grew from that and I actually learned some lessons. So it has to happen for you to actually learn. So I've learned my lessons about that. And so during that time, my animation was developing by doing these videos and stuff like that. And then I think it was in October, around the time Bob died, that's when I had this crazy idea to use this character I had lying around in my library. I hadn't used him. He was supposed to be for someone's music video. So he was just lying around in my library because the dude didn't like the way the character looked. But I really liked this character.
Is this your character Jetta? Is it Jetta?
Yes, that's what I had envisioned.
Okay.
Yes, it's Jetta. So the way I envisioned doing this guy's music video was I would do it in a sort of gumball style.
Oh, okay.
The gumball style where you have 3D background with real trees, and then you have a cartoon road or cartoon bus.
Mixed media.
So Jetta is actually, if you take him out, he is modeled after Gumball. If you just put Gumball beside Jetta and look at him, you can see that the shape of his head is the same as Gumball's face. His body is the same height as Gumball's body.
Now that I think about it, I would have never guessed, because I guess you did that thing where you take inspiration but you don't copy 100%.
Yes.
Because I actually wasn't even thinking that was Gumbo.
Mm-hmm. I'm actually surprised people don't like different. Like he's black, so people like.
Maybe it's because he's human. I think that's the first thing. Because Gumbo isn't human, he's a cat, right? If I'm not mistaken. Yeah. So.
Probably that.
Yeah.
So like that's he wasn't ready to be mind blown yet. So he's like, nah, bro, let's do like a real human, the one you've done before. Because I'd done an animation for him before and did his avatar as a human proportion. So we had this character lying around, and then this crazy idea just popped into my. I was sitting with my friend, with Tafadzwa, and Lance. Lance, your host. He's one of the dudes who did the voice for Angry Mwana. He worked with Nafuna. He did the voice for Tano, and who else? I forgot who else he did for, but he. So we were just sitting, and this idea just came. What if we make, something to humor like what just happened? I know it's satire, but we just had to make a little something. Bob, rest in peace, Bob. So we made a little short skit of him just crying. I'm sure you've seen the first episode. If you haven't, it's up on YouTube, where he's just crying and he's wearing an Adidas. He's wearing an Adidas shirt and he's wearing an Adidas beanie. Apparently, that was like some of Bob's, final fashion trends, like Adidas. So that episode sparked the entire series up to where it is now. That idea was like, let's use this character, because I just had him lying around, and now we are on episode 7, still hoping to grow and do more of Jitha. And as like the time went on, each episode was developing more and more in terms of like the visuals and the stories and the ideas. We were just experimenting with each episode on what makes people laugh, what really people really like seeing, and we got some comments from some of those episodes. And so we are trying to use the comments that we got from the previous episodes in the newer episodes. So currently, that's how we got to where we are right now. And yeah.
Alright, cool. That sounds amazing, man. It seems like things have been looking up for you. Like, you didn't go through unemployment. You got, the ball running, man. You got work. You also learned how to deal with terrible clients. I'm guessing those musicians who made you like have sleepless nights working on their animations, and they just tell you to fuck off, and they don't pay you anything, which sucks.
They don't pay you, man. Like you just do work and then it's done. It's dead. People just go quiet.
And you'd be surprised, a fellow artist is screwing over a fellow artist.
I think that's what sets the division between the music arts industry and then the artist industry.
Yeah.
Like that division in not valuing like each other's work. We don't see each other's work value.
Yeah.
Because you'll get someone saying, just a small animation, dude. Just a small animation. How much could that be, man? It's kaniki, just 30 seconds. Of which, to be fair, if we're actually looking at 30 seconds of animation, it should cost way more than we're actually charging the artists for. Like, well, then what I was charging the artists for, it should have costed more, but then they didn't appreciate that. And there are some artists, like some, I won't drop any names. I will not drop any names, but there's some very, very big, well-known artists in there, like very influential in their sector, who have not paid their dues. And it's just disappointing to know. Once you really get to know some people, you're like, come on, man, I expected better from you, from what you do and how you present yourself, and then you do this with a little bit of money. It's a small amount of money, man. It's not even So
actually,
that lack of respect.
Yeah, I remember there's this guy who did like a poster for Takura. I think he was complaining on Twitter that Takura didn't pay him, but he still used it in his like album. So I won't mention the guy's name, but I remember.
I hope it's not
Huh?
I hope okay. I just said I hope it's not someone had to do it. Someone had to do it album, but anyway, let's not discuss people.
Yeah. But anyways, okay, close.
Like
Alright, so dude, it's kind of getting super late. I know we went through a lot of technical difficulties. Our usual means for recording.
Who it could be, but yeah.
So yeah, I was saying that like we went through a lot of technical difficulties to set this interview, mostly because my usual means of doing so bailed on me on the last minute, which sucks. But I was thinking maybe we could do like a part 2 of the interview, because I'm pretty sure we haven't exhausted everything, like in terms of like what you went through, what you got into. Just went through the journey of you being confused to finding purpose, and then finding your niche, and dodging unemployment. Because I know there are a lot of people who went to who graduate, and then like some are still sitting. Like you'd be surprised that some people are still chilling, and they haven't gotten work. I mean, they have their degree, which is cool, but some are still chilling. Alright, seems like everyone's gone quiet on me.
What are you talking about? Coming out of the closet stories?
No. Like, no, I was saying that.
John, your line is breaking up.
Oh, okay, my line is breaking.
Oh,
okay, cool. So let me just end it,
because the prophet has returnned from the mountains to give some revelation.
I think it's because the prophet has entered. Now the network has become so jagged.
Yeah. But anyways, like my
they're buying network that is
yeah.
Oh, come on, what the fuck?
Anyways,
Where'd you get these lines, man? Where'd you get these lines?
Anyway, so hey dudes, I'm gonna have to call it a night.
Yep.
It was nice like interviewing you. Hopefully I will try to make sure that the audio is salvageable.
Your side is very slow, John.
It is.
It's really like it's actually delaying. When you're saying hello, it says hello.
Oh shit. Okay.
So can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you clearly. Anyways, guys, I'm calling it a night.